Her triumphs led to betrayal. Her faith led to flames. Joan of Arc, the girl who saved France, was abandoned by the very people who should have fought for her. But the real story, it's far darker than anyone could have imagined. This isn't just her trial. It's the story of how betrayal, politics, and greed led to her brutal execution. And it starts with her own king, who truly condemned her to die. Welcome back to Unseen Saints, where the untold stories of faith, crime, and martyrdom come alive. But today, we dive deeper. Today, we uncover the shocking betrayals by the people Joan trusted the most, her king and the very church she believed in. Grab your seat, because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc's capture marked the beginning of a relentless series of betrayals. After leading Charles VII to his coronation and securing the future of France, the very man she fought for, the king she saved, abandoned her. Silence. No ransom, no negotiation. In 1430, Joan was handed over to the English, the enemies she had so bravely fought against. But why? Why did her king, her ally, offer no resistance? The answer isn't simple. It's a mixture of politics, fear, and a dangerous game being played at the highest levels. Charles VII had everything to lose if Joan remained alive. She was the symbol of his power, and in the world of royalty and treachery, symbols are expendable. Once Joan was in English hands, her fate was sealed. But instead of a military execution, she was handed to the church where her trial began. It wasn't just about heresy or witchcraft. It wasn't about her visions or the voices she claimed to hear. No, this trial was far more calculated. This was the church's chance to erase the memory of a woman who had too much influence. As Joan stood before the tribunal, she wasn't just fighting for her life. She was fighting for the truth, a truth that no one wanted to hear. Her king was complicit, the church corrupt. Her visions of divine guidance weren't just dismissed, they were twisted. Her trial was an investigation of one woman's soul, but it was truly an inquisition into power. The tribunal wasn't interested in truth. They were interested in control. They twisted her words, manipulated her faith, and tried to force her into a confession she didn't believe in. One of the most powerful moments came when Joan was asked if she believed in the authority of the church. Her answer, yes, was used against her. It wasn't enough to say you believed in God. She had to submit to an institution that was more interested in preserving its power than in serving its faith. But Joan didn't give in. She resisted, and her resistance sealed her fate. Why was the Church so determined to destroy her? Why did they push for her execution with such unyielding fervor? Was it just because of her influence, or was there something darker at play? The truth lies in a hidden history of corruption, politics, and fear. The English saw her as a threat. But what about the Church? What was behind their unrelenting pursuit of Joan? The real mystery is an understanding why the highest powers, both secular and religious, felt that Joan had to be erased from history. It's the story of a system protecting itself, no matter the cost. Joan was sentenced to death, but it wasn't just a quick execution. The Church wanted to make an example of her. They made her recant her visions, forced her into submission, and in the end they branded her a heretic. On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. But the flames that consumed her body couldn't erase the truth. The embers that rose from her sacrifice became the spark of a legend. The real tragedy? The betrayal didn't end with her death. Her story didn't end in flames. In fact, the truth of Joan's death would be exposed decades later. In Part 3, we will explore the dramatic retrial of Joan of Arc, a retrial that would turn everything upside down. Joan's accusers? They were silent. Her name? Cleared. But the aftermath of her death didn't just change history. It shook the foundations of the Church itself. The truth wasn't just revealed, it was buried. And the fight to keep that truth hidden would continue long after her martyrdom. Stay tuned for the shocking conclusion in Part 3. Subscribe, like, and comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Joan's death was a betrayal of faith? Or was it a political execution disguised as justice? And don't forget to check out our other videos on historical figures who faced similar struggle.